Hi everyone, I'm Anthony Damaschino. I'm the author of The Empty Nest Blueprint and The Empty Nest Blueprint for Single Parents. I was so excited to be part of the Amazon Virtual Voice Beta program. I can't tell you how excited I was. I didn't want to pay $2,000, $10,000 for an audiobook, especially if $10,000 means you got to sell 2,500 books at $5 a profit to pay for that. So I got into the beta program, super excited. My book got loaded into the Virtual Voice Audiobook Creator, and I went to work. Unfortunately, after 20 hours of work, going into the HTML code, as well as going in and using all of the tools, although they only have 3, I had to abandon the project. And let me tell you why. So, what Kindle does is what Amazon does is it takes your Kindle book and it pushes it into Virtual Voice. So all the words, all the data, all the information you have in your book move over into an audiobook digestion of the Kindle books, and it reads through that book page by page, line by line. If you're J.K. Rowling and you have a story from start to end, that's fantastic. However, if you have pull quotes in the middle of your book, if you have tables, if you have long lists, if you have sets of lists, if you reference something a lot, these are things you cannot remove from the text. There's no deletion of text in the Virtual Voice program. You could add a word by changing the pronunciation of that word. So you could put, if it said go to the store, you could click on go, change the pronunciation and add I'll go. So it's kind of cheating. You can do something like that and add words to the text, but you cannot eliminate words. You can't delete anything, and you can't change anything around. So what happened to me, I have a lot of tables, I have a lot of exercises, I have a lot of pull quotes to make my pages look more readable throughout the book. And all of these things get pulled from the Kindle book into the Amazon audiobook, and they are read by the narrator that you choose. So unfortunately, quotes, tables, lists, references, citations, and even subheaders, there are issues. For example, with a subheader, it could just be a word, right? So you have a chapter, you've talked about something, you put a subheader, finances, and you move into the topic on finances. Well, the Amazon Virtual Voice is going to read that subheader. So it'll end a sentence, say finances, and then move right into the next sentence. In a book, it's a visual cue. You understand that it's a break from one topic to the next. But using audio, that is much, much harder. And you can't put a pause after that finances. Subheaders don't allow you to put pauses in. What I thought would happen is anywhere where there was a period, if I put a space after it, I could enter a pause. So I went into the HTML code and I put spaces after every heading, subheading, bullet point, and chapter throughout my book, hoping I could add that pause. I was not able to. You can add pauses to sentences, but you can't add pauses to some of the subheadings or bullets or some citations throughout. So that was kind of a bummer. But at the end of the day, when lists and especially lists and tables were turned into words, if you had 3 columns of data and that just turns into one lengthy list, there's no way to have the audiobook reader read through that list in a logical manner, especially if you have 3 column headings like parents, children, grandparents, and then you have things under that. It's going to say parents and go all the way down, grandparents all the way down, children all the way down, and it just sounds like someone's reading off the alphabet, except they're just reading off a bunch of words. So things that have visual context in a book, again, quotes, tables, lists, references, subheaders, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't transcribe. And without the ability to edit that text, again, if you did do that, you'd be editing the Kindle book and wiping out a lot of what's good and neat in a Kindle, in a visual book, but not good in an audiobook. Now, there are 3 tools in Virtual Voice. You can speed something up, you can change pronunciation, and you can, what's that last one? Oh, you can add pauses. Well, unfortunately, pauses are selective. Pronunciation, you can add words, but what you can't add is inflection. So if you tell a joke and you want something to end like on a high note or with a question, sometimes the reader will just read it flat. So I couldn't believe she was dead. It would say, I couldn't believe she was dead sometimes. Or if you wanted that, dead, sometimes it would say, dead. So it just doesn't have the inflection that one would need if they're telling a joke, or if they're trying to make a point, or if they're trying to put some excitement behind a word. It's not going to end with that tense and tone. Now, I realize it's early going. I was super excited about being part of this program. I think AI will obviously get there someday, and you'll be able to make those tweaks. But unfortunately, right now, with virtual voice, without being able to edit the text, that's the biggest one, without being able to play with tables, quotes, lists, references, citations, and subheaders, and make significant changes to those, you are stuck with whatever words were imported and dumped into that virtual voice file. So I hope for some of you who maybe don't have any of those things, this works out spectacularly, totally affordable, and probably a great tool. For those of you that have a little bit more complexity or a lot of pull quotes or a lot of data sitting in your book, you might have a tough time like I did. And after 20 hours, unfortunately, I had to abandon this project. I'm all for Amazon coming out with new tools and virtual voice in the future, but today it just didn't happen, can't happen. We've got some more time, we've got some more development to do. Thanks, good luck.